This is the BS4 podcast, and I'm your host, Bria Villa. Hi, y'all. Welcome back to the BS4 podcast. I am your host, Bria Villa, and I'm so excited to have you, and I am so excited for my special guest today. This person currently is a safety in the NFL playing for the Patriots. He also graduated and he is educated from the one and only Cal Berkeley. But he also happens to be my best friend. We've been friends since high school. And so I'm so excited to have him on the podcast. But please welcome no other than Jaylinn Hawkins. Welcome to the show.
You feel me? Yeah.
I can't believe this. This feels so surreal.
Nah, this is tight. This feels dope.
This is so surreal. Okay,
super.
Is there anything I missed in your introduction?
You know, philanthropist, entrepreneur,
yeah.
a man of the community,
Yes.
family man,
Yes.
fiancé.
Fiancé.
Just got engaged. You know,
He all the things.
all that. You know, I can go
couldn't
along,
see.
but I'm gonna cut it short.
See?
No, I'm playing.
See, I had to check and make sure because I'm like, I know this man got more to add than I did. So
No,
I am
playing.
so excited to have him here. I feel like literally one of the first people that I told that I was doing this was y'all. Mm-hmm. Him and Jayda, his fiancée. Mm-hmm. And I immediately, they were so supportive. They're like, Jaylinn, in Jaylinn's words, that's hard. I need to be on it. And I was like, yeah, I know. And so he's actually my second guest. His fiance was my first. But we have to give a little rundown of how we met. Do a little background, a little introduction.
All right.
So we met in high school. We met our freshman year of high school. Olu. Shout out to Olu. Actually, yeah. I don't know about that one. But Jaylinn actually transferred after our freshman year of high school to a different high school. But we still stayed friends. We stayed friends through college. We had a little dip for a second. We're going to talk about overcoming adversity in a second, don't worry. But then we got really, really close again. And I would say the last few years, we've just been super locked in.
Locked in for sure.
Yeah. What's your first impression that you had of me?
I just remember, you was cool. You know what I'm saying? We young, you know what I'm saying? We freshmen, you had braces. I had braces too, though.
You did.
You know what I'm saying? We were young, you know, going through that phase, maturing, puberty, hanging out with some of the same people, being around some of the same people, and all that, and then just having conversations at lunch and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, she cool, you know what I'm saying? The homegirl, you know? So then we just locked in and, just been cool ever since, you know what I'm saying? Just said common things, just good peoples, you know, so.
Yeah. So we met in high school. Jaylinn had braces. My first impression of Jaylinn was just he's just the life of everything. That's literally just the life of everything. I remember just hanging out because we both were athletes in high school. And all the athletes hung out together.
Exactly.
So we would all eat lunch around each other. We would do everything together, parties, everything. Everybody all did together.
What's the name? Was it homecoming or
Oh my gosh. Are you talking about the picture?
Yeah, when we was at your house.
Yes,
it was a homecoming.
Freshman year?
Yeah, homecoming.
No, freshman year. What did we call it? Mork or something? I don't know. It was this dance where you basically had to dress up as something.
Yeah,
so it wasn't a formal dance that people wore dresses or suits or anything. We all dressed as military.
Military. Camera.
I'm gonna link the picture. I'm gonna link it right here. I'm going to put it right here for us.
But it's going to be Android font. You know what I'm saying? Because back then, everybody had Android.
It was so bad.
Digital.
Literally, this picture is horrendous. We went to a dance all together.
We also went to football games and stuff together. Because I wasn't on varsity. I'm a freshman.
He was a freshman
you know
at the time.
We would go to the football games.
Varsity. We would go to football games.
Yep.
But yeah, then we stayed close friends. And literally have been friends ever since. Everything that he said. So... when I tell you, Jaylinn, you've literally been the same person since I've met you, except you've just grown.
No, fact.
You've matured a lot, but your personality and who you are at your core, he's been the same person for the last decade. We met when we were 13, 14.
14, yep, 14.
14. Now we're over a decade later.
Over a decade.
Over a decade later, and we're literally still friends.
That's crazy.
Just as chaotic.
Just as crazy. Crazy.
But yeah, today I'm excited to have Jaylinn. I feel like Jaylinn is one of those people that he has such a good perspective on life. Like, I feel like you are always you are like the definition of choosing optimism. Like, you always decide to choose optimism even when stuff is tough. Mm-hmm. And you've showed up like that always. And the B is for bestie, because this is my bestie. This is my dog right here. But yeah, we're going to talk about adversity and just like overcoming adversity, because he's been through a lot in his journey.
So
he's also seen me go through a lot. Like, we've seen each other go through a lot in our journeys. And then we even had some adversity at one point.
For sure.
So it's like, I think it's important to talk about those things, because a lot of people don't know how to like recover from certain situations that could happen. But like, we really made sure, and honestly he made sure to be super intentional about
for real,
overcoming adversity. So I'm excited to talk about this with him and have him on. How are you feeling? You feel good?
Feeling great. I'm relaxed, I'm chilling. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited to talk, you know what I'm saying, and give my side of things, and also talk with you. I'm
gonna give you all a little bit of background on like Jaylinn's story, and then I want you to like really walk us through details.
No, for sure.
We went to high school together, then he transferred high schools.
Mm-hmm.
Out of high school, he had offers to a bunch of D1 schools, decided to go to Cal to play football.
Mm-hmm.
Played football at Cal, did amazing, killed it, bowl games, all the things. He's that guy. But did have an injury at one point.
Yeah.
Had to sit out a season, pretty much.
Yeah. No, I did.
And then overcame that, got drafted. So overcame that, came back, played, had a really, really good season, got drafted to the Atlanta Falcons. When he got drafted was actually in the time of our friendship that we weren't talking.
Facts.
And he got drafted, and I literally remember I was sitting there, we'll talk about this in a second, but I was sitting there watching his draft day, so excited for him, but we weren't talking at the time. Mm-hmm. And then got drafted to the Falcons. 6 months later, I find out that I have to move to Atlanta. Mm-hmm. So then that's how we end up rekindling. We'll talk about that. And then he played with Atlanta for 3 years.
3.5.
3.5 years.
Chargers.
Then he went to the Chargers, and now he's with the Patriots.
Just signed a deal,
Yep, just signed a deal with the Patriots. Okay. High level overview, was that good?
That's solid. That
was
cool. That was
Did
good.
I miss anything?
No, you did your thing.
Okay. So, but he's been through a lot, like through changing teams, because that's not always easy.
Yeah.
And then going back to your hometown after being away from your hometown for a while.
That's different.
And then having to pick up and leave your hometown again to move to Boston. Yeah. He's really been through a journey in life, and I feel like you just have so many nuggets to share. So let's zoom out and talk about just you overcoming adversity. So first, the decision to leave our high school and transfer to BP. How did you like come to that decision, and when did you like realize that was going to be the right choice for you?
Man, I realized that was going to be the right choice like when it happened after the season. You know, we got a new coach, came in. It didn't fit my gameplay, my style of gameplay. Mm-hmm. You know, he's a good dude, you know what I'm saying? Everybody was cool, but, you know, going through that. I remember
that, actually.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody got fired. They cleaned house. New coaches come in, you know, and I'm like, okay, shoot, well, I got to bounce. So I'm like, okay, well, you know, I want to go somewhere where, you know, either like a Bosco or a Poly or something in the Trinity League or something like that. The thing that stuck out, Coach White, RP, rest in peace, man. Still to this day, one of my, you know, best coaches that I ever had in my life. Called my dad, reached out to me. I used to go to some of the Buena Park camps. I seen what they were doing. They up and coming. Mm-hmm. He's getting kids out, getting them offers, you know, and it's right in my backyard. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, man, he, you know, believed in me, reached out to my dad and was like, hey, you know, I want to meet with our family, took us out to eat, and basically let us see an overview and a vision board of what I could do if I went here and how it would be, and, you know, how I can help change the program and how I can help build the program and be on my side and whatnot and ball and do my thing. And, you know, prayed about it. Mm-hmm. You know, I had to write like a whole essay to my parents because like, I'm coming from private school, so they're like, why you want to go to public school? We go to one of these Trinity League schools or these other top football programs.
So for context, in Southern California, the Trinity League, well, really in the state of California, the Trinity League is like the most elite high school league that you could play in.
That is it, honestly.
Like, it is the most elite.
In the nation. In the nation.
Don't get it twisted. In the nation. Okay. But it really was like the most elite league that you could play in.
Factual.
So it's really, really hard. I can imagine it's really hard to leave something that has so much visibility on it, especially because he wants to go pro. Duh, everybody. But especially for him, like it's hard to leave a school that gets so much visibility,
right?
To go to a school that's public, that isn't private, that doesn't have as much visibility. Not
as much still.
But it sounded like your coach really believed in you and like explained the vision for you, and that's why you went. And was it hard?
I mean, I just took that risk. I was like, I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna just do my thing. I'm gonna lock in. So that's what I did, and I did, and then going on to college, having a lot of offers and going through that process, man. Was honestly it was a blessing. It was cool, but it was also stressful.
For sure.
That was like, honestly, in life, like, that was like my first hard decision that I really truly had to make for myself.
Was picking what school you wanted to go to.
Yeah. And also me being an indecisive person, that does not help. You know what I'm saying? That does not help.
Jaylinn will overthink something. Any possible situation, he gonna think about 10 different ways that it could go.
You feel me? You know what I'm saying? So,
but I respect that about him because he really thinks things through before he makes decisions. But that's a tough decision.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, wait, hold on, whoop, going on these trips and stuff like that. And then, I think it was the morning of, man, I just called Cal and I was like, something, like, I'll be praying about it, all committed to Cal. Everything was cool. But I went to Cal to play receiver. I didn't go to Cal to play defense.
That's true.
So, like, I was over I don't want to be a defender. I want to catch touchdowns, And so, like,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's hella
because he
true.
played both ways in high school.
Facts.
Yeah. So if you don't know anything about football, that's totally fine. Yeah. So he played 2 positions in high school, one on defense, one on offense. Went to Cal because he wanted to play on offense, but then ends up killing it at Cal and plays defense. And so they're like, okay, well, we need to keep him on defense because he's doing so well.
Yeah.
But for you, when you're at Cal, things are going so smoothly. You have 3 years that you're, whoa, yeah.
I would say at first it didn't go as smooth as I actually wanted it to go.
Okay.
Because when I first got there, it was like, okay, cool. I'm playing defense. I'm playing corner. That's straight. I'm going to try to get on the field and do what I can. But I ended up tearing my labrum early in the season.
Oh, my God, that's
right. So
I
got surgery.
Yeah.
I'm out for 6-7 months. And this is the first time I had any major injury. And then I came back from that and I broke my ankle, fractured my ankle really bad, tore 6 ligaments. My ankle was terrible, shot. And so that was right after a big injury. So I'm just in my head and I'm like, man, am I going to be an injury prone type guy? Is this it for me?
Yeah.
When your head starts going to that, you start thinking of that, especially when you never face anything like this.
Yeah.
And I just remember after getting
surgery. And you're how old at the time?
I'm 17.
Yeah,
yeah.
Going through that and thinking about your entire future when you're 17 years old is no joke. But continue. So you come out of surgery.
So I come out of surgery and I just remember times I was by myself in them surgeries. And I get frustrated, I can't walk. Cal's such a hilly campus. I had no car, no L's.
Yeah.
So I'm riding my scooter. I'm falling on my scooter. I'm getting irritated. I'm throwing my backpack. I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting hot.
Yeah.
I'm throwing my backpack and stuff on the ground. I'm throwing pillows against the wall. I'm just frustrated, because I can't be out there doing what I can do. But one thing I'll say through all that, I always was positive and I always applaud other people.
For sure.
And I never pointed at the next man or pointed at anybody that, I thought that was better than or, that was in my position.
Yeah.
Because I'm not there balling.
Yeah.
I've always just, praised them.
Yeah.
And was like, man, good shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You doing your thing and being a good teammate. I'm out there with slings and all type of stuff just turned up for all the dogs and man, let's go,
That's
so
literally how you always are. He's always been
energy
like that, where he's so you are literally so positive through everything. I literally said earlier, I was like, Jaylinn is the epitome of choosing optimism because through all that, mind you, put yourself in his shoes. You're 17 years old. I didn't know what the hell I was doing when I was 17 years old. You think that you know what you're doing. You think that you're grown, but you're really not. And so you're 17. You have this vision of I want to go to the league. This is the future. you get an injury, 6 to 7 months out of football, y'all, is a really long time. Like, that's a long time in football to, like, take a step away and not be practicing and doing everything with your teammates. You come back from that, and then you get another injury. And it's like, that alone, taking a year out is truly make or break for so many people. Like, that could have completely ended your career. It could have, you could have gone a whole different way in your mind of, like, F this isn't my time, I'm not going to recover from this. Like, but you just chose to stay optimistic. And on top of that, he's very supportive. Yeah. Like, I was saying, as soon as I decided to do this, you were one of the most supportive people. You're like, I want you to do that. You're going to be so good at that. Like, he's definitely someone who gives people their roses. And I feel like it's a really strong, powerful way to handle adversity is like, instead of being so woe is me, you're like, how can I lift up the next person and like play my role, even though I can't physically show up, I can still be a leader and like show up for the people around me, which I think is really powerful. Like, how do you shift?
It kind of, so I felt better when I was back on the field. You know what I'm saying? I got back on the field, got back to playing. So that obviously made me feel better. I'm feeling happier, doing what I love.
Yeah.
You know, but also too at the time, I was facing mental battles of like, man, do I even want to be here? Like, this is not a defensive school. I don't want to be here. Like, I didn't come here to do this.
Yeah.
You know, I'm calling my dad frustrated. Like, what the hell going on? Like, just hot. You know,
because you're not there doing. I'm not there doing what I
signed up to do. You know, and then he just said, "Man, just stay at the course, man. Just stay there. You know, just do that, man." And I listened to him, and I was like, "Okay, you know, I'm gonna just do it." We ended up getting the coaches changed. The school changed from an offensive-minded team to a defensive-minded team, which helped me out. I ended up, you know, getting a starting job. I started a little bit my rookie freshman year, a little bit, like 3 games. But then I ended up getting a starting job my sophomore year. And then I started ever since.
Yeah.
But through that, like, I just learned, like, man, like, whenever, like, you going through stuff like that where you feel like things aren't right, like, a lot of the times you don't really understand, like, what's going on. Obviously, God does. He understands. He got the plan mapped out for you.
For sure.
If you believe, you know what I'm saying, and have faith and stay the course of things, you know, things work out. And also, like, back to what you're saying, as far as the negative thoughts and stuff like that, like, that's just going to happen.
For sure.
You can't
control it.
You can't avoid that. You can't avoid the ups and downs, and you can't avoid emotions, man. So, you know, I just did what I could do to be best. But like through all this too, like I realized like I had like major anxiety in college.
For sure.
Like and nobody really knew about it. Like there would be nights in college, like, and mind you, I'm playing good, but there would be nights where I couldn't even just sleep. I go to practice with no sleep, or like it just, there was just so much going on in my head. Like that was just like, whoa, like, you know, I couldn't control my thoughts.
Yeah.
And like that's one thing nobody knew about, you know, so and it also transformed, it stuck with me even when I got to the league. But we'll keep on talking about that. But
But I like that you talk about mental health is so important.
No, for real.
And I feel like what adds on to adversity is also your mental state at the time. And some of us are given really tough circumstances in life, but then in addition, you're given a mental either disorder or diagnosis or whatever the case is. But like, if you're someone who is, I mean, I was diagnosed with anxiety in college and had no idea that I had anxiety until I literally went to the hospital one day because I was having an anxiety attack and I thought I was literally dying. And I go to the hospital and they're like, "You're fine, it's just anxiety." And I'm like, "This is anxiety? Like, you mean to tell me that I thought I was going to pass out? I thought my teeth were chattering. I was about to faint, short of breath. I thought, you're telling me that that's anxiety? I'm thinking I'm having a heart attack, right?" And so when I figured that out, I'm like, okay, this makes so much sense why the things that are hard in life are like ruminating in my mind. It's like, I can't let them go. Fast forward a little bit.
I'll fast forward. Yep.
He's killing it.
Killing it.
He's doing so well. And then we stopped being friends.
Oh, man.
He was about to graduate at Cal. And he gets into...
a relationship.
He gets into a relationship. We won't, obviously, we're not saying any names. We're super respectful here. But he gets into a relationship. And at the time, you know, as a friend, And you'll hear this because I also have an episode that's with his fiancée, who now is one of my best friends, Jayda. Mm-hmm. And they just got engaged 2 days ago. So I'm so proud of him. I'm like, I watched him go from a boy to a man. It's crazy. But at the time, like, I think the difference in the situation is when I met Jayda, his fiancée now, with how much I saw that he cared about her, I knew that this was different. With his girlfriend at the time in college, there were things that I saw as a friend, and I look at you as a brother. I don't look at you as just a friend. So sisterly, and like my younger brothers can attest to this, like I'm just really, really protective of my people in general. In a sister sense, there were just certain things that I didn't want for him. There were certain things I didn't want for you. There were certain things that you were dealing with at the time that I didn't feel like you should have been dealing with.
That's fair. So I think during that time for me, obviously, you know, like that was like honestly like my second real relationship, love, all type of stuff. So I was young, of course, but I think also too at the time, like I really was, you know, I care a lot. You know what I'm saying? I care about my people a lot. So like I'm willing to do things for my people and make sure everybody is straight before I'm even straight.
For sure.
And I look back at that situation and it's like all that could have been avoided, especially like if there were boundaries being set. But that takes a mature mindset.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? To have in order for that to be in place, you know, and like that time, like I didn't know how to, you know, I'm feeling like I'm going back and forth or this is this and this and this and this, instead of just making things a man and instead of it just being like, okay, this is my girl, I'm doing this with her. I don't have to, there's certain things that we go through that don't need to be broadcasted all over social media and that don't need to be broadcasted to other people. I don't need to confide in other people.
For sure.
I don't need to, you know what I'm saying? Like, even though you my best friend, you my sis, you know what I'm saying? But like, when you're in a relationship, there's certain things that you handle in a relationship.
Yeah.
And then you got your friendship, you know what I'm saying? You know, there's boundaries and stuff like that. And I think for me, I would say like I kind of got it too intertwined. Ultimately, it just didn't help nobody out in this situation because I'm trying to make sure everybody is happy and cool.
Yeah. Well, you're in a tough spot. But I think what ended up happening was I could feel that there was we had never actually sat down and had a conversation about it. We never sat down and we were like, he never was like, she doesn't like you. This is how this needs to go. Like that never happened.
That did not.
It was literally just like, I could feel the friction. And so I started to slowly back away.
Yeah, it was too much drama.
And then he kind of let me back away because it was so much friction.
It was too much.
And I also was hurt because I was like, this sucks. I'm losing my friend. But I also am gracious and understood because I knew that you really liked her. And I was like, at the end of the day, if this is who you're supposed to be with, like everything's just going to pan out the way that it's supposed to. I knew it wasn't who he was supposed to be with, by the way, because he's with who he's supposed to be with now. But I'm not going to say I told you so, but I told you so. Okay, so fast forward. Now, we haven't been talking for a minute. It was probably like a year. A year.
So.
And the draft comes up. So he had just graduated. I don't know if I said congrats on your graduation or not. That don't matter. So he just graduated and he's getting drafted. And I viscerally remember the day that because I was watching predictions and I was watching when we predicted for him to get picked up. So I turned on the TV the day that I'm hoping that he gets picked up. And literally within 20 minutes of me having the TV on, he gets drafted. And I literally just watched it just to see him get drafted. But it's crazy because we weren't talking. So I can't say anything. I don't say anything. But I'm just like on the other side of the TV like, I was so happy. But then at the same time, I was so sad because I was like, we're not talking. I can't celebrate this with him. But I was still so happy for you and your accomplishments regardless. And he deserves it. Like literally the most deserving person. So gets drafted to the Falcons, period. And him and his girl at the time break up.
Yep, so I go through that.
And he goes through a breakup, whatever. I find out that I'm moving to Atlanta. And this was like a few months after he got drafted. And so I reached out to a person, like a friend that's a mutual friend between us. And I was like, is Jaylinn doing well? Like, how's he doing? Whatever. And she was like, oh my God, like, you should just reach out to him. I think that she had reached out to you or something. I don't know. But we get reconnected and I text Jaylinn. I was like, I'm just going to reach out to him. So I text Jaylinn. I'm like, hey, Jay, it's Bria. We should catch up sometime soon if you can. Jaylinn calls me immediately. Doesn't send a text back. Doesn't nothing. He FaceTimes me immediately. He's like, oh no, he texts me. He says, I'm finishing a workout. Let me call you when I'm done working out. He literally calls me. He's still in the field sweating. And he was like, Bria, how are you? I miss you. Like, how's it going? Like, same old Jaylinn, literally the same person. And he was like, we need to talk about everything. Like, I'm so sorry, whatever. And then he goes, matter of fact, like, what are you doing within like the next month or something? And I'm like, oh, I'm just in Arizona. I just bought a house, like, whatever. He's like, great, I'm coming. And I was like, you're coming to Arizona? He's like, I'm gonna come out there for a week and like we're gonna talk about everything and like we're gonna be good. And I was like, okay, period. Like, sounds good.
The whole boundary thing, and then also just the communication thing. Like, I take responsibility because as a man, I shouldn't let anything get to that. It should never be that deep.
Yeah.
Everything should just be cool, you know?
Yeah.
But I remember during that time, like, I was just, man, like, fresh out, you know, I broke up, rookie season, you know, doing my thing, whatever. Fresh in the league, having fun, off season, all that. And I was just like, dang, like, in my heart, I'm like, damn, like, I really, like, through that, like, I really disconnected with some real good people in my life that was just like, damn. There were some little minor convos, you know, that you know, and things that shouldn't be going on that were just really a lot of unnecessary stuff. But you learn, you know.
Yeah.
The older you get, you learn, and you don't repeat those things. So then when you had reached out, I was like, okay, like, dang, God, like, aligning things in a weird way. You know, I'm a spiritual, you know.
Yeah.
And also optimistic.
Period.
And so called me, whatever, reached out. So I called him back, like, oh, it's good. I'm like, hey, like, hold on, like, hey, I was tripping. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, like, that's my fault. I take full responsibility, you know, because as not even
that's exactly how it came out.
Like, as a person, it's like, man, you don't want to do good people wrong. You know what I'm saying? You just want to be a good person. You feel me? So I'm like, man, hey, let me slide to Arizona. You know what I'm saying? We could chop it up, kick it a few days, you know, and really make amends and like leave off. I mean, come back to where we left off and be cool. You know what I'm saying? And you real for honestly like allowing me to do that. You know what I'm saying? Just as a friend because like that usually don't even be happening. Like you know what I'm saying? Friendships be breaking up on stuff like this and it don't even go back type. You know what I'm saying? People hold that grudge forever and it's like that says a lot about you as a person. It's like, okay, you know, you're forgiven and you see the goodness and the realness in somebody, and that's real, man. You granted me mercy and forgiveness. So I'm like, okay, that's cool.
But he's also a real one because one, I just always knew his heart, so I knew that like the situation that he was in was a situation that he was in. It wasn't a me and him problem. It wasn't us versus each other. It was just like the situation. So I like knew that I could at least try to lean back in, but the reason why I think we're so close now is because as soon as I opened that door back up, he was on top of it. He was like, I'm making sure that we're good. I'm coming to Arizona. Like, he took action on it immediately. Yeah. Like, he wasted no time. And I feel like that automatically, like, built my trust back in you in, like, 2 seconds.
No, for sure.
Like, I fully was like, no, we're good. Like, because people, I will say, Jaylinn, like, people, it's really rare that people show up for you in life. It's super rare that people will like really come through for you and like make sure that you're good and that we're good and everything's solid. And so the fact that you just showed up makes the biggest difference. And I think the adversity that we went through and like how hurt I was over the situation, I overcame that hurt so quickly because you just showed up. Like, that's literally it.
Dang.
And I feel like after that, I found out I'm moving to Atlanta. Or I think we had already known that I was like, I was in motion of that. Yeah. So then I moved to Atlanta and then it was just us two out there for
we was kicking
a minute.
So like I would have like obviously my football homies, but like besides that, like she was the only like person from back home that I had. So like we'll just be kicking all the time. I'll pull up, go out to eat. I ain't gonna
dinner every day.
Hang out, talk about stuff, and just rekindle. Yeah, man. So that was cool, and that was real cool for me to have somebody like you out there.
Yeah, same for me.
I'm young, I'm playing and stuff like that.
Totally.
Things going good, and then you know what I'm saying? My fiance, we rekindle because we took, we
He knew Jayda
in college.
He knew Jayda in college, and then they ended up rekindling later.
But we rekindled. But I remember one thing that was important. When I first started talking to Jayda, because I ain't gonna care. Once I started talking to her, I'm like, this is
I know.
You're gonna take this to
the next level. For sure.
So I'm like, okay, I know the people that I know. These are the people that will always be in my life, and these are like my good people. These are my friends. Mm-hmm. So first off, I'm gonna be transparent with the girl I'm talking to, my woman. Like, hey, look, these are my best friends. Mm-hmm. That's who they are. Mm-hmm. I want you to get to know them. They good people. Ain't no weird stuff going on. Mm-hmm. I ain't hooking up. Nobody doing that.
No.
We just fam. That's it.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you that first and foremost, instead of things coming up late in the relationship, like I did last time, say nothing for your mistakes. Mm-hmm. And she respected that, her being the woman she is. A lot of women don't respect that.
For sure.
But
But she's a real one.
She is a real one. She's the greatest.
The greatest.
Feel me? She understood that, and then obviously, like she said, you guys went to games together, did a couple things together. Like her knowing how much that our relationship means to me and everything like that. Yeah. It became like everybody was just locked in and it was solid.
For sure.
And the thing that's cool that I think a lot of people don't really understand is there was not really a boundary that had to be said. It was more so everybody respected and it was understood
immediately.
You know what I'm saying? You respected our relationship. So
yeah.
Me and her, like I said, me and her situation, certain things was me and her. Even to the, it's me and her. We going through some shit. Okay, cool. That's me and her. Obviously, you guys got closer. I mean, we close, but it's not to where all three of us is in a relationship.
No, yeah.
I think a lot of people get confused with that. Yeah. And a lot of people
I'm the golden retriever.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I'm literally the golden retriever in the relationship.
Cool, keep it at that and that's that.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
I think that's the problem sometimes and why things get messy.
Yeah.
It's because people overstep certain things and certain boundaries. And then they can't have a situation where you can have a girl best friend or good people like that. For sure. Stuff like that. And and also too being secure in our situation. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? She make me feel hella secure.
Yeah.
Period. Good. Nah, but I make her feel secure though.
No, for sure.
I don't know. I'm not out here representing the wrong way. I'm not out here making her look dumb. That's one thing about me. Don't make me look dumb. We're not gonna make each other look dumb. No. We can respect certain boundaries, certain things. For sure. Know what I'm saying? That's between us. And so for sure. And also with our friends and our friendships, we're gonna respect that as well.
And I think it's just out of genuine care to when he first met Jayda, I knew it was different. I just knew off rip. As soon as he started telling me about Jayda, I was like, the way that you talk about her is so different than anything ever. So I was like, okay, this is about to be for real, and I want to make sure that she likes me. I'm like, that's important to me. But yeah, so we all have I feel like we've all grown together and had really good, solid relationships. But to Jaylinn's point, we have our own individual relationships too, which is so nice because it's they're not coming to me. I think a lot of people's nightmares being in my situation is you're friends with a couple and the couple will go through something and then both call you and you have to feel like you're in between it. That's never happens with us ever. And so, yeah, no, no way. No way. But I feel like so ideal is we have our own individual relationships, but we all are very understanding and respectful of boundaries. You also really had a tough, not a tough time, but you went through a lot of adversity when you were in the league too. When he starts playing for the Falcons, it's a whole different world. It's a whole different world going from being a collegiate athlete to a professional athlete and trying to navigate
women too.
Women, money, fame. There's so much that you're exposed to. And so when you went to Atlanta, obviously let's fast forward, you met Jayda. Right. You're finding your place on the team. Adversity wise, do you feel was the first few years tough for you?
I mean, to be honest, On the field, things was going good.
Yeah.
I can't lie. Everything kind of went the right way. Everything was just went like this. You know what I'm saying? Like
Indeed. I was there. I watched it.
Second year to balling out to third year balling out. Everything was on the up and up. And so everything was cool.
For sure.
I mean, she moved in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm starting. I'm playing good. Everything going cool.
Yeah.
And then boom, last year, fourth year, you know, I go through a little bit of adversity. You know, on the football field, randomly though, unexpected.
Yeah.
You know, when things were going good.
Yeah.
Financially with my contract.
Politics.
Just certain things going down. You know, with what was going on, and stuff I disagreed on. My agent disagreed on, and I asked, you know, to be traded, released, and you know, that granted me. Then came to the Chargers, and they showed love, and I did my thing here. But I think through all that, man, I was going through for sure adversity, because it was crazy, because like everything was on the up and up. Like everything was looking on the up and up. Everything was going cool. So I'm thinking everything is good, and then boom, something happened. So in my head, I'm just kind of like, you know,
it was so out of left field.
It was so out of left field, and it was so random.
Yeah.
But I think that, you know, I look back at it, and like, during those times, I was in a dark place. Like, it was my girl like living with her, like going through that, and I'm like, hold on, like this wasn't supposed to happen. You know, I'm having little doubts about certain things, having doubts about myself a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, contracts, certain money, things that I was supposed to get, didn't get. It was just a lot going on in my head, and I was like depressed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have even more anxiety, and like, it would be hard for me to even talk to my girl on a daily basis when I'm coming for practice, because I'm just so overly consumed and just like swamped by emotion, feeling down, you know, just with everything that's going on, I'm letting it affect me.
Yeah.
And so I look back at all that, and I'm just like, man, like the things that I learned, what I would say is just like, for one, no matter what you do in life and everything like that, like you should always bet on yourself.
For sure.
And I'm glad I did that, but I wish I would have done it earlier upon the season. But like, you should always bet on yourself, man. And like, I think that was one key thing God was always trying to show me, is just always bet on yourself.
Yeah.
Always trust in yourself. Two is also like, through anxiety and through waves and through things, just be present. Like, just be in a moment.
Yeah.
And like, obviously I have a therapist, personal life coach, you know, so I self-reflect and I do those things a lot. But like, being in the moment and living life, like there's ebbs and flows and things go up and down all the time.
Yeah.
But if you don't go up and down with those waves, and you manage by either practice, having a certain mindset skill, taking medicine, or doing whatever you got to do to make sure that you're stable and nothing will really knock you, because you'll bend a little bit and flow, but nothing will fully knock you over. I think you'll be okay.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that, you know, this taught me, like, from going through those sleepless nights, from going through those things, you know, a lot of the anxiety and all that really comes from, another thing is perfection.
Yeah.
You know, especially in the sport, being in the league, being in life, thinking how, you know, you're trying to, instead of letting life, you're trying to predict and make life happen the way you want it to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's how a lot of struggles in your head come, because you're trying to dictate outcomes.
For sure.
And you can't dictate outcomes. You only can dictate inputs. And so, like,
period.
Now I'm figuring out. I'm figuring that out.
Yeah.
And I'm still mastering it. That's another thing. Mastering.
Yeah.
You feel me?
It's hard.
But it's an ongoing thing, man.
For
and
sure.
Like, this all shows me that like life is really something that you master, and everything you do, you're just mastering. You master in your relationship. You master in your things. So there's ebbs and flows. There's no perfection. There's no such thing as perfection. Only God perfect.
Period.
So.
What did I used to text you before all your games?
Progression over perfection.
Every game, I would text him before his game and be like, I would just say, good luck, love you, progression over perfection, every game. And I feel like, because that's so true, especially when it like adversity hits and when you're going through a lot of things, especially we're both like this. We're both super perfectionists. Like we want to show up perfect all the time. And it's really, really hard, but you have to have people in your life who remind you that like, it's okay to just show up period. You don't have to show up perfect. It's just okay to show up, period. And that's progression. And I feel like you have such good people in your circle who have really helped pour into you. But also, y'all, like, you've taken time to seek those people out, though. Like, you haven't waited for life to, like, bring you healing. You haven't waited for life to get you right in some of these situations. You've sought out therapy. You've sought out support in your relationship. You've sought out friends when you need it. You've sought out help with your professional coach. You've sought out help with even your agent, like, and being able to navigate that. So I feel like you don't just wait for things to get better. You get better.
Yeah. And the harp on that is like, you know what I'm saying? I'm a Christian, you feel me? So like, I'm praying every day.
Period.
You know what I'm saying? I believe in God, G-O-D.
Period.
But faith is first and foremost. I think if you don't have faith, like that's the thing you gotta have. But I learned like with having faith, you gotta be proactive. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta put the work in. You gotta do inputs. You know what I'm saying? You can't just pray and hope for $1 million. Right. That ain't gonna happen. Right. Like, you know, I'm gonna pray about it, but also I'm gonna take the steps and do the things that, you know, God is allowing me to do. For sure. To work towards and get that, you know, and it's just like, man, being happy for the small things and like being present. You know, like I used to go by this, like throughout the league, I've been going through this, like saying, you know what I'm saying, win the day. That's his thing, win the day, okay? So I'll be trying to live by that, man, and I'll be trying to, you know, just collect these little small wins, you know what I'm saying, do the little things right, collect these little small wins, because the consistency in these small wins, you know, produce booms. For sure. And I've seen that, you know what I'm saying, throughout my career, and I've seen that. It's been like God has shown me that throughout my life. Yeah. You know, the more consistent and the small wins and the things that I've been, you know, just take it day by day, winning. Being patient is the hardest part. Yeah. But if you could do it, you know, those blooms will happen in your life. For sure. Great things will happen in your life. And like, you know, now I'm in a good situation, you know, signed another deal. And
period.
And, you know, so it's just cool, you know, to just keep.
So watch out for number 3-2 on the Patriots this year, okay? He gonna do his big one, okay? He will. But I feel like you're in such a good spot now, Jaylinn, with everything that you've overcome. Yeah. Two injuries that totally could have ended your career, right? I mean,
it was bad. It was detrimental to my mental.
They were, for sure. Yeah. And then a lot of people, I think, would have folded in that situation, to be honest with you. But two injuries back to back that were really, really tough, right? Then having to do an extra year because of the injuries. Going through a really tough relationship, dealing with a lot of ups and downs and adversity through the league and different contracts and whatnot. And then to now, it's like you're in a stable place with a team that really appreciates you and loves you, right? Cool. You're with a woman who appreciates you and loves you and that you love. You know what I'm saying? She gonna be his wife, so like there's that on that.
That's very important.
And he's probably the best, like closest to God I've ever seen him. And doing all the right things, taking care of his health, taking care of his mental, like you're in a really good spot. And I feel like all of the adversity you've overcome has been through your own hard work and your intentions with a good support system that you've been intentional about. But you've worked really, really hard to get to the spot that you're at now. And to your point of like win the day, success is a series of small wins. It's just small wins that stack up over time, and then you have that big boom that you're talking about. And so that's how you overcome adversity. It's like you just have to win the day, literally. Yep. That's all. You got to win the day.
I got one more note though to say.
Say it.
One more note to say.
Say it.
Coming out of adversity is like your perception on adversity.
For sure.
Like, I'm honestly.
Ooh, talk about it, Jaylinn.
I'm honestly thankful for the things that I went through, because if I didn't go through certain things like last year or certain injuries or certain things, I wouldn't be as strong-minded as I am now. For sure. Honestly, I'm gonna go. It's a life. You're gonna keep going through things.
For sure.
But like, it's just how you really look at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you keep going through these things and you just keep going and you look at it as like, okay, these are just lessons and these are just helping mold me. Like. More and more stuff will be less effective to you. Like you would, like things that used to bother you will not bother you. So you know, sometimes just look at it and be like, you know what, like this maybe happened for a reason.
Yeah, shaping your mindset.
Now comes that optimism. So
for sure, Mr. Choose optimism for real. But I think that's so important. Like, it's how you look at the things that you've been through. He wouldn't be here today and as good of a man as he is if it wasn't for the adversity that he's dealt with. And so I'm so proud of you, just like friend to friend. I'm so proud of you. You are truly, I tell people this all the time. I'm like, Jaylinn, you literally are easily one of the best people I know. Like, truly one of the best people I know. He's always been like this too, y'all. Like, I swear to God. You can't talk poorly about somebody around Jaylinn because he will not engage. You cannot talk negative about much of anything around Jaylinn because he will not engage. He is so positive and so kind, and he has been this way literally his entire life.
Feel good.
His entire life. So I am so proud of you, and I'm so thankful that you're here. He just blessed this podcast with a lot of good. You talking about nuggets? You gave him. You gave him.
Blessings on blessings on blessings.
It is all the above. He blessed it for sure. So I appreciate you for coming. I love you.
Love you too, man.
Thank you. All right, if y'all are watching, thanks for tuning in. Look at us chilling on this couch. If you're listening, thank you for listening. Go check it out on YouTube. Follow Jaylinn and watch his journey. What's your handle?
Instagram. Hawkins.
Jaylinn Hawkins. That's it. We gonna put it in the bio, okay? Follow him on, a little TikTok or something. He be trying to put his little TikTok things on there.
TikTok coming up.
Yeah, we working on it. Okay.
On there too,
Okay. Just a little moment.
Something.
And also watch him. Support him. Maybe buy his jersey. Do something dope because he's the realest, and now you know that he's the realest. But I appreciate you. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you next week.